Hi, this is the Match Now with Sean channel. Hey!
Hello.
And it's actually something that me and Joe actually agreed on. Was that
Wow.
there's rumours.
That's not often.
Hello.
This is Match Now with Sean. As you say, I've got two people deciding for a change.
Hey, Sean. Yeah, we should. Get him in here. Get him in. Come on. You got my man.
Yeah, it's a little bit of eye candy for you. Hello, this is Match Now with Sean. With Sean Healy and a guest, Callum from LUC Passion. How's things anyway, Callum?
Yeah, good, thank you. We're here towards the back end of week. Trying to put out a miserable last weekend, hoping to go into a new one. But yeah, apart from all things, not too bad, thank you.
Yeah, great. So talk a bit about Fulham. Or do we have to?
It's yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, you wanted to talk a bit about Harry Wilson and Muniz. Um, yeah, they didn't do an awful lot though, did they? Considering the money they were trying to throw at it.
Now, obviously, the massive in terms of the window was when it came to the striker. Muniz was the only target being linked. You know, like the Calvert-Lewin and the Italian striker, and I think it was Dermovic as well from Stuttgart. That was all later on. So all we knew was that it was going to be Muniz. You know, we put in a 32 million bid. Sky Sports reported it, and after that, it went all quiet. And yeah, it was one of them where it seemed exciting, but I think at the same time, his most goals he's got is 8, so it's nothing to really shout on about. But as a Leeds fan, or as a Leeds fan, coming up, it's going to be hard enough already. So I guess someone with a little bit of experience could have potentially helped. But was it a bit overhyped? I mean, I'm glad we didn't spend that much in terms of how much he was. In terms of what I think it was quoting 40 to 45 million.
Yeah,
No.
I think it was at one stage. Yeah, they got to that and they were like, "No, we'll stop." Yeah, it was crazy money. You know what I mean? The only one that would have been worth it would have been Paxel to push the 30, 40
Yeah.
mil. Would have been Paxel because I think would have made a huge difference. But would have played him?
I mean, it's one of them where it was interesting. I was listening to the Square Ball podcast, and it was Darren Cross on there, and he was talking about Paxal, the whole deal, the whole malarkey, and it was that there were apparently if Paxal was going to come in, Leeds would have to kind of measure the books, so there'd be like a Tanaka potentially going as a self-sacrifice. That's it. But I think that's one thing Leeds avoided this year is letting go, really. And yeah, you can clash on Mazzani, but we didn't get anything for him. It's just a straight load. Same as we didn't really sacrifice anything for PSR. You know, a few people thought, not obviously credible, but was fans thought maybe could it be a Strouk? So, you know, he's already got a good pedigree about him. Brighton have always been interested. Tottenham in the past have sent scouts. So we thought, well, maybe if one of them goes, it could maybe, you know, we're not exactly blessed with money in terms of because of the PSR situation, that someone would have to go. But yeah, no, it's interesting. Patrick, I think it's something I mentioned to you off just in private that difference maker we're not having. And I think Patrick, obviously, his numbers speak for themselves. I think it was 16 goals and 12 assists or something in the Eredivisie. I mean, yes, it's a good. It's not the best in terms of quality league, but you don't get teams like Marseille. I think a couple of other teams in Spain would be mentioned. You know, there's clear why this guy was, you know, high. And for Leeds, I think it was everything on him. And I just think with him in that team, I think he'd have been brilliant. I think he'd have really. I mean, he'd have been the closest since we got Rafinha in terms of, you know, having that Brazilian flair, players, and a player that we love in terms of getting fans off the seat. And yeah, it was Dan at Walker before we got in the end, who I thought actually was all right against Fulham. I thought he had his moments, nothing too on to write home about. He didn't, but it's something I noticed with Walker, and I heard a few other people mention it, is that he didn't lose the ball much in terms of he's very tidy on the ball. He He's got that low sense of gravity. I just wish he'd, because when you look at him, I think he's 6'4", 6'1". He's got that physical attribute Spartan. I just wish he'd use it. Try and bully a few more. Because I think it was Tete who struggled with him, and then once the Anderson kit started to come over, that's when I think he got doubled up on, and he started to kind of struggle a bit. But I just think with Okafor, it's going to take him time to set in the league. He's just come, and it, of course, he's not in the same league as Pakistan in terms of numbers, but there's clearly a reason why Farker wants him, and hoping that he can kind of replicate what he did in Salzburg that he can do over here.
Yeah, and I agree with you. We did very well not to get rid of Pascal or Tanaka or any of them. I Pascal's kind of surprised me with how he's played, how much he's made the step up. Actually, he's done very well since he stepped up. Since we went up, he's probably been one of our better players. Like him and Rodan have had a great
I
partnership for the
completely
last couple
agree.
of years. They've known each other and they've played with each other for the last couple of years, and I think they kind of know each other and they kind of trust each other and they know what each other's going to do before they even know they're going to get the ball. Like one
Yeah,
can kind of travel around the other, and if they get stuck, if they get caught, one gets around the other, grab around the back and sweeps up. Um, so yeah, I think we did very well there, and the one now in hindsight we probably could have got rid of was Perot. If I've said could have got 10 to 12 goals this season, and hopefully
I
he
just
can get a
think
couple. Tom's going to get a couple of goals, but I don't think he's going to get the 10 to 12 that I thought. Like,
it's one of them with Perot. Every Leeds fans after having a very good championship period, obviously got the top score. Yes, scored 4 in one goal, but if you're not in the right places, you don't score. Every goal has to be taken into account. I just
yeah,
think with Perot, maybe it's too slow for the league. It's a completely different league in terms of the championship going to the Prem.
yeah,
A lot of strikers. I think the only one I can really one who seemed to adapt well was Liam Delap. Obviously, why Chelsea bought him. Apart from that, there's not
yeah,
many strikers that come up from the championship who adapt well. Hence why Leeds brought in two more, not to say experience in the Prem, apart from Calvert-Lewin, but more experience in the football world. With Perot, he's only been really used to the Dutch league and the Championship, which again both slow leagues. And with the way Leeds played, especially with Perot, it suited his football. But going up to that extra level, you have to adapt. You have to elevate into a different system in terms of you have to be much more quicker. And I don't think it's suiting Perot. And I just
no,
think I thought he was decent against Ever. He put himself about, but never really got any clear cut chances. I think
no,
Tarkowski and what's he called now? Tarkowski and I can't remember the other one. That was it. Keane, I think Michael Keane didn't
yeah,
really.
yeah, yeah,
And both Saliba and Gabriel, in terms of them 4 defenders, won't have it easier there in terms of
mm,
stopping Pro, because we know what he's going to do. He's not the kind of striker that's going to run at defenders and give them nightmare. He's kind of really easy to deal with. It's his finishing that we like. He's very good at. He's very a composer finish. He knows his placement is brilliant, and we saw it many times in Championship. But you're not going to get that much space in the Premier League. When you get your chances, you have to take them. They're never clear cut chances, and if they are, it's very rare. And I think that's something that we struggled with. 1 goal in 4 games, no goals from open play. It's a bit of a worry so far. Yes, we're only 4 games in, but we have to start scoring. Goals have to come from somewhere. And I think personally, the defence are going to be probably a bit annoyed in midfield. They're probably thinking, we're doing our, obviously bar the own goal from Goodmanson, we're doing our job. You
yeah,
boys up front need to start doing that. Start need to fitting in. It's worrying at the minute. Things have to change, and let's
yeah,
hope that Farker in training. Of course, Farker with results, he will be putting. And for the hindsight is he's not the one who's putting the ball in the back of the net. He can only do so much. It's the players on the pitch who have to put the goals in. To put it quite bluntly.
But then but he's the one who's picking the team and he sets them out like that. And then the weekend when he had James and Nanto on the bench. I know James hasn't pulled up much trees, but I thought Nanto would have deserved to start over Aronson. He obviously went out. He's obviously went out looking for a draw, but which I kind of get. Like, but the likes of Nuno and them type defensive type managers, they get the goal first, and then they kind of sit back because you're holding on to something. Because you're holding on to something, and if you can see the goal, you're still gonna get a point. But if you play out for 0-0 and you can see the goal, you get 0 points.
It's one of them, innit, where, of course, before the game, we'd have all taken a point because, it's in London and we never do well there. But I think because of how I thought Tottenham didn't register a shot in that first half. Leeds were dominant. Yeah. And one player impressed me who has been consistent, I'd say, so far, is Longstaff. I think Longstaff has been really good. And you can tell he's that next level Premier League, and he's always that assurance on the ball. He's a good buy so far. But I think with the Aronson thing, in terms of him coming in, I think Farker saw that he'd want his wingers to press in the front. Okafor, we know he's got that pace. Aronson, there's not many attributes that you can give to Brendan, but one of them is pressing. There's a reason why Bielsa wanted him back in his era, because of pressing. His pressing stats are good. Yes, I think Farker did. I don't think it was the full game. I think it was probably the last 10-15 minutes where Fulham started to gain more yards on us because we dropped back more. The likes of Kevin, who I'm really glad only played 15 minutes because from what I saw in that, he was brilliant. Yeah, Bogo was being, I think it was the left back going forward who Bogo had to kind of deal with, and Nonto. Actually, before Nonto, James, I thought was the wrong substitution. James shouldn't have come on. He's not looked fit since Oxford. I think and for me, that's not surprising. Not his fitness, but him not doing it because he's not, in my opinion, he's not a Premier League winger. Championship is his best outfit, and credit to Farker for getting his confidence back up, getting him. Farker's got to get credit for James. Before we went down, he was loaned out to Fulham. Funnily enough, he wasn't. Bielsa were putting him in strike as much as we love him, not a striker. And Farker, really took him under his wing, and he was his main guy. But you've seen that level that he has that pace, but apart from that, he hasn't really got much in his game. We know that he's going to run to that byline and cross it in him for a fullback. You just have to stay on your feet against them.
Yeah. It seems more like a bit of a. It's going to sound a bit harsh, but it sounds like a bit of a pace merchant almost.
But I think he is. I think that's, and in the Championship, we love that. Yeah.
And all I need to do is just go and step in front of him.
That's it is. In the Championship.
Step in front of him and just nail him. You know what I mean? Every time.
I think he's also finding out that Sorry, go on.
Go on.
I think he's finding out the difference between a Championship fullback where he's going to get more yards and a Premier League left back who he's not going to give him a night or day because they're experienced. They know what wingers they come up against. They come up against elite wingers every week. The likes of Salah, Palmer, Garnacho. He's not. I wouldn't say a world beater, but he's a decent winger. And for James, it's just your average Joe. He's average Dan. And it is unfortunate because I love James. I love what he's been. It was a massive part of us going up, but unfortunately, time moves on, and I think that's one thing that Leeds didn't do. I'm not saying I want us to completely revamp the squad because one, we don't have the money for that, and two, we've seen in the past with teams where if you take out the core of their squad, it can really affect you. But you still need quality, and I don't think Leeds. When you look at Justin, for example, 10 million, it's been mentioned. It wouldn't be meant if you get another winger in, like a Buonanotte. Of course, not Farker's fault. He decided against it. If you get another player in, that 10 million player isn't even mentioned because the money's always spent somewhere else. It's just now where no one got brought in deadline day. We was rushing around for Harry Wilson, Buendia, this player, that player, freaking playing times being delayed. I mean, it was a chaos, and the massive elephant in the room is the James Justin signing. Yes, a decent fullback in terms of experience. He's a good level. yes, he's got one England international. It's something more than other
So
fullbacks,
yes, so is Bamford.
but it's 10 million that shouldn't have
Yeah,
been put on a
silly.
that 10 million could have been put. That could have maybe given. I know we can't offer Buonanotte Champions League football, but money talks. You know, Leeds could have offered him more on a loan deal. We could
Yeah,
have.
but we needed
It's
a
this
full back at
bucks,
the
but
time.
it's.
We needed a full back at the time, though.
We
We needed
did,
a
of
full back.
course. There was a massive demand for a fullback, but at the same time, so far what I've seen, defence and midfield isn't the problem. It's that you attack.
Yeah, but if the players get injured, if the players get injured.
No, of
If
course
one
you
of
have
us
to
gets
take that into
injured,
consideration. Players get
Byron,
injured.
and I think what happened there, I think Fact copped that Byron wasn't it,
No,
and he
I
had
don't
to.
think he is. I
And,
think he's
and I
he
don't think
said he had it.
Fact. I don't think Fact. I think Fact didn't know really, and then he seen him playing, and was like, okay, I'll jump. I'm trying to get Justin now.
Well,
A
there's
full
a
back.
reason why we didn't let and Schmidt as well. He's got to be talked about. I mean, Okafor himself absolutely teared him apart in that Milan game over in
Yeah.
Dublin.
Yes.
And I think for that was the final nail in the coffin in terms of he's not what we need. And to be fair,
Yes.
good luck to Schmidt. I hope he does play football, and I know he got an assist on his
Yeah.
debut. So good luck to him. I hope we can. But it's the attack that's worrying me, Sean,
Yeah.
because
No, it is.
have we got enough to stay up? It's until January, and there's even murmurs that nothing come in January. It'll be suicide if,
Mental.
and
And
especially with
because
December coming up.
because they went and said that, it kind of puts them in a corner, a stupid fucking corner where they put themselves in that little corner where if they do a deal, they're gonna get hounded. If they don't do a deal, they're gonna get hounded by the fans. Either way.
It's got to
You
be.
get me?
It's
Because
got
like, oh,
something's got to be done.
people are gonna be like, oh yeah, when's not spend it in the summer on a winger and blah blah blah. When's not get the winger in the summer or whatever. So either way, because they've said that they've no money, they've kind of backed themselves
The
into a
problem
corner.
is it being overconfident. I know we've thought Parade coming out. I think it was Everton. We'll stay away to the last days of the window.
Kalinga vibes. Shut your mouth.
Have we seen this before? It's don't speak unless nothing happens. Speak after the window. Don't speak. It's at the same time he's not going to come out and say, "Oh no, nothing will happen." Of course, nothing has happened, but he's not going to come out at that point. Leeds won a big game. Fans are excited for the new season, but
To
it
the way
still
he's
begs
saying it.
that question: was all the money spent wisely? I don't think so. Of course,
I
you need
think,
depth, you do, but
I think defensively, I think they've built quite well defensively in midfield, and I think that's kind of the basis. You ain't gonna lose matches if you've got a good defensive midfield. But I think they tried to go and get a winger in, and the thing with Ramazani as well with Fark, they should have never sold. They should have never sold him, never ever sold him until they got someone in. If you felt they didn't want him in his team, you get a player in that you like or you didn't like, and get rid of the player you don't like. Look at
yeah,
Bielsa did it. Under Bielsa, he never used to bring anybody in until I used to never sell anybody until we brought somebody in first, because then if
which
you
is
get
what any
caught,
club should do. Any
which
club.
is because then you're gonna get caught. You're gonna get caught, and look what's happened. You got caught. You're gonna go scrambling around, and the clubs and other clubs will know that we're scrambling around looking for a winger or a number 10, and they're gonna go, all right, give us the Muller, give us more, give us more, give us more. They'll try to get as much money as they can out of it,
Yeah.
and we're not prepared to pay a certain amount. We're only prepared to pay a certain amount, and
No,
then we tend
we
to,
we no.
and then we tend to pull out of deals, and then we pull out of deals. Then if it's too much, we don't ever pay over the odds,
Which I think is
which kind
smart
of
in some ways
which is
because it's
smart, which is
PSR.
smart, which is smart. But then we gave everybody our cards by selling Ramazani because everybody knew we needed a winger then.
Yeah,
And,
it's
you know,
and we talk about. I think one thing that's really surprised me in the last few days was because we were told that the 49ers did business behind closed doors. Well, they weren't behind closed doors in them last few days. The last few
It
hours,
wasn't.
every
It
man
was,
and his dog could see that Leeds were desperate.
and the thing is, that wasn't behind closed doors against Everton either. When he comes out and says, "Oh, we've got the money, we've got this and that, and whatever, and we will get players in," that wasn't behind closed doors.
It's showing your
That's
hands
him.
and not backing it up. If he
Yeah.
backs it up, he's no
If
one's
he
saying
just shows,
anything. The
yeah,
James. If he
exactly.
backs it up, James Justin isn't even mentioned in terms of
No.
his price because we've got the player in. Now that we haven't, it is going to be said that 10 million could have been spent. But at the same time, we've got to move on. Unfortunately, with the cards we have.
Yeah.
For me, I feel for Farker because yes, he's part of that recruitment board. And me and you had a bit of back and forth with this where yes, he gets the final say on players, but you can only say so much to the press. We've heard in conferences he wants players. It was, I don't know which conference it was, but I remember it being mentioned. I put it in the group that he wanted 2 in, and he didn't even get one
That
in before
was.
the deadline day.
I think it was just. I think it might have been the Arsenal one. I think it might have been around the
I
Arsenal
think it
time.
was
I think it was just
where he
after
wanted 2
Arsenal.
players in, and he didn't get one in. So Farker didn't get back fully. He didn't get all the players he wanted, and for me, I think that kind of holds in his favour if he ever gets sacked because he can turn around and say, "Well, I dealt with the players I could. They didn't get me what I wanted."
But is
And I
he getting the
think,
best out? But is he getting the best out of the players?
well, of course, that's what's going to be looked at
That's
is
you know what I mean.
he has to,
That's
he has
and
to
he
now.
and he
Has, yeah.
and he's come out and said it. And he's come out and said it that I have to deal with what I've got to deal with. Then okay, then if you're gonna say things like that, then back it up and play your best players.
But at the same
Not
time,
not not not
okay,
not not playing players like Aronson. And if you needed two, and also if you needed 2 players in, why get rid of Ramazani, which meant you might have needed 3.
maybe he expected it. Maybe he expected a winner coming in.
You can't expect it. You cannot
He
expect it.
has to though.
You
He has to
can't.
expect a player coming
If you
in
sell, well then why did you sell him then? You should have never sold Ramazani.
because maybe once Ramazani went on loan, maybe he thought as soon as he was going, I know Okafor came in, but still he needed another one in. That's what I mean. He wasn't promised everything he needed. That's why I do have sympathy with that. In terms of getting the best out of players, that's another matter. That's a different matter in terms of recruitment's one thing. Getting the best out, if like you said, he's dealt with the cards he's got to get more of that attacking. So, the Aronson one for me in terms of playing, like I said, I get why you played pressure in the front, but we know with Brendan, when he's on that ball, when he has to make a choice, his decision making, and it's
Woeful.
shocking. But for me, one player who I think going under the radar so far is Anton Stark. The past 2 games, he's not been good. And for me, one thing that's really annoying me is he's a tallish player and he shouldn't be on set pieces. I remember, I think it was James who won I know he didn't play much, but Dan James, he won a free kick near the Leeds fans and Stark across it and he hits the first man. It is a shocking free kick. And he shouldn't be on, he's that tallest player. I
And we've
think
got
it
a set
was.
piece coach as well. And we've got a set piece coach now in.
Well, let's
Hit the
hope
first man.
Stark shouldn't be on it.
But we're still
He
hitting the
shouldn't
first
be on
man.
it. He shouldn't be on it. It should be,
No.
maybe a Goodmanson. But we're doing this again where we're having to pick and choose set pieces. And with this happened last time in the Premier League when I think it was Brendan, Mark Rocker, Harrison, they're all.
Brendan Harrison. It was Brendan Harrison because I always remember the 2 of them whispering each other's ears every fucking time and
Yeah,
then hitting the first man
but
every
not.
bloody time.
But one thing that leads, if we're not going to score a lot from open play, set
You get
pieces
a
have
set
to be.
piece.
It's crucial. I saw a stat. I think it was. I can't remember what year. I think it was 21-22 Everton. They scored 14 goals from set pieces to help them stay up. They're
Yeah.
crucial. They are the difference between. And we saw
Yeah.
them fortunate the weekend. Yes, it was
We've
an own
never,
goal, but it was
we've
still a
never been
set
really,
piece.
we've never been really good from corners though. I don't remember us being really good from corners
No, I don't think
ever.
we've ever been
And free
in
kicks and
terms of
corners.
highlighting for corners, but
Like who was the
you
last
have
great
to.
free kick take? Who was the last great free kick taker we had?
Rafa,
Rafa. Yeah.
Hernandez probably as well.
Didn't take many
Pablo
free.
had it.
He took the odd one, yeah. Pablo.
That's what I mean. We're scratching around the bottom of the barrel
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
can't. That, like you said, with the set piece coach coming in, hopefully one we see stack off it. He's in the box. He's a giant.
Yeah.
But I just think for me, he was off it that weekend. I think
He was a little
Leeds
bit.
were. I
Well,
think
he
it
did
was
get a 3.
4-3.
I
Go on.
think you think the yellow card kind of hampered him a little bit.
No, but
It was a
it
stupid
wasn't for
yellow
me.
card. It was a
No, it
stupid
wasn't
yellow
his
card.
defending. It wasn't his defending that put me off. It was his attacking, where he's got a chance
He's
to
not
have
the
a
type player. He's not
4-3.
that type player, I don't think.
But he's played the ball. Well, all he needs to do is play the ball through for Calvert-Lewin and he's through. He decides to go for the hardest pass to Okafor and it goes straight to
Yeah, I
Kenatete.
suppose. Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
if that's Aronson and Harrison, they're getting pelters. But saying that though, Aronson did the exact same thing.
Yeah. Aronson at one stage got the ball, got into the box, and then just turned backwards. Turned back towards the top goal.
He just takes too many touches. He takes way too many touches, and I just don't. I think one thing though, who's really going to buy Brendan Aronson? I think the money we spent on him, we're not going to get that back, and all that for sure. We won't get that 30 million back.
I think we'll end up having the same problem that we had with trying to get rid of Bamford. We're going to have
Potentially, because I mean it'll look worse on PSR if that is the situation. No,
I just have an awful feeling. I just have an awful feeling that nobody's going to want that.
7 million worth for Bamford. It's not great. 7 million we paid for Bamford. It's not great, but it's different when it comes to 30 million for Aronson. Yeah.
Crazy.
Do you want to go on a bit about the Wolves game coming up potentially?
Yeah, if you want, yeah. We're going to be doing a bit of a preview anyway tomorrow when the presser comes out and all that. But yeah, we can chat a bit about it. Yeah, it's going to be tough. But we've got a good record against them, which is the plus.
There's drama against Wolves. There's always drama involved, I've noticed. I think.
Yeah, the last couple of games
red cards.
brilliant.
I remember one time where
sent off.
I remember one time where Jimenez got sent off. I think we had about 4 injuries in the first half.
That was Wesley got injured, yeah. Wesley got injured, yeah.
I remember Calvin.
Bamford got injured.
I remember Noah Kenner, who's never played a minute of football for Leeds, got a yellow card for running across the pitch. Calvin Phillips, he was injured, was running across the pitch.
Calvin Phillips is supposed to be injured. Calvin Phillips is supposed to be injured. He's hobbling around with his crutch, around his head, like that. No.
We never do it. We never settle for easy.
No.
But this is one game we have to get 3 points.
We have to get 3 points.
Or a draw. I know a draw is the minimum, but a win has to be because
I don't think even a draw. I think we need to start winning games. If we can't beat Wolves away from home with the form they're in at the moment,
they've not won a single game.
Yeah. So if we can't do it now, who else we got to pick up points against?
I think Strand Larson potentially is injured for them, which I know he's not scored yet this season, but still he's a good player. There's a reason why Newcastle put in 2 or 3 bids because he's a quality striker, and he's loading off the best in the Norwegian team. That's for sure. Under Erling Haaland, I think James will miss this game. I think bad luck on his. I know it's. I'm telling from a picture on a TV screen, but the bad luck on his face, it didn't look good. Probably a groin injury, I think. 3 or 4 weeks. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't see that. Yeah. Okay. Probably for that there tomorrow for definite.
I'd keep the same midfield because I thought. I think
the same midfield tree. I mean, yeah.
I don't think we've even. I think Ampadu's performance has gone under the radar. He was brilliant. I think with Ampadu,
I doubted him for a long time.
One thing I've noticed with Ampadu is whenever he's injured, every time he comes back for that first game, he's brilliant. He slots in. He doesn't take him a couple of games to get used to the pace again. He's straight in it and he's quality. And Ampadu, that's one thing we missed again. Go on.
Go on, go on, go on.
No, go on.
I think the big difference for me that turned my mind on Ampadu was the way he nailed what's
Dewsbury
his
Hall.
name?
Dewsbury
Dewsbury
Hall, yeah.
Hall. He just nailed them, and it was at the right time when we needed it. They were getting on top of the game, and he's getting into it a bit and all. He just would have nailed them. I was like, okay, he's up for this, you know what I mean? But that's what seemed to be done his injury anyway. Making that tackle. Was it just after it? You think he got a knock down, was it? Or was it when he
Uh,
made that challenge? I think it wasn't long after it either. He came off not too long after it. If I remember,
probably wasn't. It wasn't the challenges. Probably the impact could have probably
it was probably the impact of it.
potentially got him.
But, yeah, but
Yeah. No,
yeah.
but
Go on.
I reckon I've got a prediction of can't be 2-1, but I reckon that's what I've got to see. But my prediction, I reckon 2-0 Leeds. I think we're going to step back up. I think we need a win. The press conference, I think, will tell tomorrow in terms
Yes, it'll be interesting
of
the
team
press
news.
conference tomorrow.
But yeah, I've got to go. But yeah, that's if you need to talk about anything else, we've kind of covered
That's
everything.
No, that's kind of everything. Yeah, thanks for coming on anyway.
No, anytime again, I'll come on.
Yeah, it was good. It was good having a
Yeah.
chat about stuff. We've been trying to get it done since last Friday.
Love how we've not mentioned the own goal for certain reasons because it's too much of a nightmare to bring back.
Too much of a nightmare that was. And that was from a corner.
That's what I said. That's what I said. Corners are huge. That's how much I know benefit us. It was from nothing. But we moved up. We deal with the good and bad times. It's part of the ups and downs of being a Leeds United fan.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me on.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah. I'll see you in the group chat later. Yeah, chat in the group chat later, yeah? All right.
Yeah.
See you later. See you later, mate.
See you later. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.